In today's video, we'll be discussing the numerous things that you can do if you plan on leaving your gerbils on their own for a full week. While this can take a bit of preparation, it can be done. However, before attempting anything, you must also weigh the many risks that are involved. And that's where this video comes into play. In this material, we'll briefly discuss the aforementioned risk and also give you a few positive items of note as to how you can make things work. We'll also give you a quick rundown of everything your gerbils will need while you are away. This not only includes the essentials that will be needed for proper gerbil housing, but also the potential introduction of a third party to frequent your home to make sure that everything is okay. Before we kick things off, we'd like to take a moment to thank you for watching. We appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to join us. Thank you so much. Now, let's get started. Let's talk about some risk, negative issues that can only arise in probability the longer that you're away. Some of those risks can include injury. Your gerbil could suffer a fall within the gerbilarium, sickness, running out of food and or water, in-cage fighting, escape, and your gerbil getting too hot or too cold. While those issues are quite obvious and can typically always be either rectified or prevented entirely when you're around, these most basic concerns can arise when your house is empty and there's really not much you can do about it. For example, if you saw one of your gerbils attempting to make the great escape, you'd likely put it into that at first sight. The same goes for lack of food, water, the onset of sickness, etc. However, if you're on vacation, you won't be able to see anything. This is why all of these concerns and possibilities need to be considered. Positive preparation is very critical. When it comes to leaving your gerbils for a full week, that's iffy at best. While gerbils can certainly survive for 2 to 3 days courtesy of plenty of water and food, things start to get a bit more concerning after 72 hours. While it can be done, as we noted in our introduction, you need a dedicated plan. And speaking of a plan, this is where it all begins. Let's go over some basics, and then we'll later discuss introducing a third party as part of a wellness check. If you must leave your gerbils for a week and the situation is unavoidable, you'll need to focus on the following. Clean the gerbilarium before you leave. You don't want any suspect living area to accumulate more bacteria over the course of another week. Allow your gerbils to start fresh, just as you are walking out the door. Make sure the temperature is between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, not too hot, not too cold. Leave plenty of food. Allow at least for 1 tablespoon per day. Gerbils are pretty good at self-regulating their diet. As long as the proper supply is available, they'll be just fine. Add just a touch more of food to the entire supply just to be on the safe side. The last thing you want is for your gerbils to run out of food. Remove some of the bedding. Too much bedding can lead to compression against the water bottle and the water spout. This can cause the spout to break and the bottle to leak. And speaking of a water bottle, attach 2 large and sturdy bottles. While gerbils only take in roughly a teaspoon of water per day, give them 2 large bottles, just in case something happens to one of the bottles. Here again, just like food, give them more than they need, just in case something happens. Our next recommendation is that you set up a camera to watch your gerbils, if you have the ability. This way you'll know if something goes wrong if you do not have a third party checking up on things. And finally, before you leave, make it a point to secure the gerbilarium. We mentioned that escape is one of the many risks. Make sure the lid is 100% sealed before you leave. If you've covered all of your grounds but would still like some reinforcement, you could introduce a third party. While we've mentioned this already a couple of times, it is a wise move, especially if you are leaving for a full week. Ask a trusted friend or a family member to check in on things every so often. Gerbils are not high maintenance, so it's really just an eye test to make sure everything is fine. Alternatively, you could bring your gerbils to their home to be looked after. Ensure you provide them with all of the essentials to sustain your gerbils while you're away. Are you looking for a true professional? Then check out a gerbil sitter. They can either come, stay at your home, or make routine visits while you're away. Scour the web and look for professional gerbil sitters or caretakers if you feel so inclined. And finally, if you wish to abort the idea of leaving your gerbils on their own, or even under the supervision of a friend, family member, or professional sitter, you can take them to a boarding location for a week. This will allow your gerbils to be cared for 24/7 by professionals, while eliminating the concerns of the gerbils being left alone and or other people entering and staying at your home for long hours, perhaps even overnight, especially if you're talking about a complete stranger in your house. A boarding service will eliminate a tremendous amount of stress for you as an owner. And on that note, that will wrap things up for this video. We certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to know more regarding this topic, please head on over to gerbilwelfare.com. There you will find a full-length article dedicated to this subject matter. It will include everything we've spoken about today, only in long-form version. If that's your cup of tea, we certainly invite you to check it out. Are you currently watching us off-site? If so, click the initial link in the description box below. Said link will take you to the aforementioned article. And until our paths cross again, and I certainly hope they do, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. Please have a wonderful day. All the best to you and yours, and we will talk to you later.